excellent to navigating the overcoming uniqueness of growth and healing. You are enough. There is power in you. You are enough. Are you ready to use the power that's inside of you? You are enough. Today you know you was always enough. Yes. We had a moment when we didn't have the confidence to be as bold and secure that we are now. You are enough. Yes, we had moments when we settled for that relationship that we weren't supposed to be in because it was toxic or not. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to The Power in Your Voice. I am your host, Dr. Sheena Godine, and today we have the Mills in the building. How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
I'm good. Can you tell the people where y'all tuning in from and what y'all do?
We're tuning in from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm currently a staff sergeant in the Army National Guard, and I'm a personal trainer.
I'm Shauna, of course, yes, Fort Worth, Texas, and I am an entrepreneur and I am a domestic violence advocate, and I travel all over the states to bring awareness to domestic violence. And I am a beauty owner of GGK Lipstick Diary.
Congrats. So tell us, what made y'all decide to go into business as an entrepreneur for yourself?
Okay.
Well, too often we work for other people, and these other people become successful off your work. And I believe that if you can work hard enough for someone else to be successful, you need to work hard enough for you to be successful. And with having kids and now a grandchild, I believe that we should leave a legacy. And part of that legacy should be hard work. Part of that legacy should be a work ethic. Now, I'm not saying there's something wrong to work for other people, because that's what you do. That's what you do. But if God has given you a dream to bring forth, then you should walk in that.
Miss Mills?
I became an entrepreneur because I just wasn't happy working for someone else. And when my husband deployed, when we was in Arizona, it was kind of like an unexpected deployment. And so he wasn't supposed to deploy. But we had less than 24 hours for him to leave and deploy. And within that time frame, after he left, I just chose to do something. It was finally time for me to do something for myself. And a lot had happened. So me working for somebody else, I just felt at that time it wasn't an option. It's still not an option because we had a little one at home, my daughter. So one thing led to another. I ran a pageant, I won. I was able to have domestic violence at my platform and tell my story. And it just kind of moved fast from there. And here we are, 6 years almost into being an entrepreneur, and I'm happy. I'm happy to help people. I'm happy to share my story so I can create a safe space for men and women without the judgment or without people looking at them in a different light, but look at them in a light where they are strong and resilient. And I just feel that we need to create more spaces for men and women to be their authentic selves.
Absolutely. So what do you feel is your goal to creating that space for men and women?
What do I say that again? I'm sorry.
What do you feel is your goal as far as creating that space?
Well, as you know, I mean, me and you've been knowing each other for what, 5 years now. And what I do in the domestic violence community is I create events. We often, yes, we know that domestic violence is in October, but it's other organizations that happen like breast cancer. And I feel like domestic violence get tucked under the rug. So I made it my mission to create events every October to bring more awareness and to travel and tell my story, so it would make other people feel secure and safe to tell that story.
Now, do y'all create events together?
Um, we created the kickball together
Yeah.
in Arizona, but for the last couple of years, when I created events, he was deployed. So he would help me, like when he called, he would give me ideas and give me ideas how I would be able to pull a man, because it's hard to have a woman to pull a man in to be vulnerable, right? So he would do like videos for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? For a man to feel comfortable to be able to tell their story. But going forward, we just talked a bit about this last night. Going forward, I told him, I was like, I'm burnt out and I need who knows me better than you. So last night, we decided like we're going to be business partners in every aspect of our lives. Even if he's deployed, he will still make a way to help me so I won't feel overwhelmed.
I like that. I like that. So, how did it make you feel to hear that she's burnt out?
It made me feel as though I wasn't doing enough. Like I was leaving stuff undone on my part. Because no man wants his wife to be burnt out. No one wants their spouse to be burnt out. And truth be told, you should be able to see that without them seeing it. And I was just so focused on, because I got injured while I was deployed. I was just so focused on healing that I wasn't focused on her. So it just brought it just brought that to light for me. She's burnt out, so I need to do more. Yeah, I'm healing. Yes, I only got one arm right now to do to move around, but I'm still able to think. I'm still able to talk. I'm still able to use my other hand. So I'm still able to do stuff. I'm still able to function. I'm still able to take some of that weight off her.
Absolutely. So, as a couple, what advice would you have for other couples that are looking to navigate the working and entrepreneurial world together as partners?
Sit down and talk. Because you may have an idea, your spouse may have an idea, and it may be the same idea. And y'all just using it in different words. Or y'all may have separate ideas that actually goes together. Sit down, talk. If you have any fear when it comes to doing it, let your spouse know, let your partner know about your fear. Y'all gonna have to work through this together. It's not this person by himself, that person by himself. Because like at the end of the day, it'd be like my wife. You'll get burnt out. Y'all have to work at it together. And there's going to be times where it's going to be frustrated. There may be times where you may feel as though you're not being heard, but that's where communication coming out. Y'all need to communicate everything, and then everything y'all do, just do a calendar. Like we have iPhones, so we use the iPhone calendar. So everything that we do, we put on the calendar so the other person can see it. This is what's coming up. This is what we got going on. We also talk about it before we put it on that calendar. So make sure that even though that there's gonna be times where I have to be here, you have to be there, we still know about it. We still communicating with each other because even though you're not there with me, it can make it easier for me.
Absolutely. Any input?
Yeah, I feel that we had a conversation before, and he told me, I think I was like, I wanted to do something for my birthday or something. And he was like, you don't let me in. Like, you telling me what you want me to do this and do that for your birthday, and then you get upset because you take charge, you take lead. And so I think it is so important to allow our significant other to take the lead instead of always thinking that we always have to take the lead. We always have to do things because it's as a woman we think we could do everything and anything, but we're human. We get burnt out. And for me, being in business for almost 6 years, I always collab with people because I think in my head, and this is why he said communication is key, is because I'll be like, okay, he's in the military, he's a staff sergeant, he has this going on, he has that going on. So and I don't want to put, he's the man of the household, so I don't want to put extra, here come me with my career. Now I need him to do this. And so I just be like, you know what, I'll just collab with people. But then that don't work out because people don't see your vision the way you see it.
Right.
Like your significant other, he is your go-to person. He supports you. So I feel that why not make him your partner? We just have to sit down and organize, be organized, and sit down and be able to let them lead in certain things that we are so consumed of doing for ourselves. And so that is one of the biggest lessons that I have learned this year is to let him in more and communicate more about how I feel. Because if I wait until I'm burnt out, then what happens when you burnt out? You don't want to do it anymore. You lose motivation, and you just simply be at a standstill. And I'm too far in my business, invested too much in my business to be at a standstill and give up now. I feel like people is looking up to me. And so when you have people that look up to you, then you got to uphold that because you reach that limit where now you do make people feel comfortable to talk about their story, and you can't back out now because they're looking up to you. So now it was my turn to figure out, like, okay, babe, I need you. Like, I can't collab with people because it's not working out. You know what I mean? And you know me inside out. You know how I want my business to take off in the next 5 years.
Absolutely. How hard is it for you? Was it to navigate having kids as well with the business of being an entrepreneur?
So my two oldest, my oldest daughter and my oldest son, they're not with us. They stay in Michigan. But when they did come live with us at a short period of time. And me having Shania, my youngest, still in school, my daughter and my son will help. They will help, and their dad would be gone. They did help me, but what I noticed is that even though the oldest kids and they was there helping me, but having a youngest at home, and she's in basketball and she's in volleyball, and now she wants to go out with her friends, and I have to be her cheerleader. I have to make sure that she's good. What I am learning is to find balance in writing things down more, and so we can work around each other's schedule. So whatever I have going on, I make sure it's not on her basketball days. I make sure it's not during school because I have to get up at 5:30 in the morning, take her to practice, then turn around pick her up. So I make sure that the days that she needs me the most, I'm available. And the days that I need to run my business, I have that help, and she helps me. So now it's working out, but at the beginning, it was just really hard to navigate because I didn't know what it entails to be an entrepreneur. Because we learn along the way, right? And
Absolutely.
so when you learn along the way, you find things that works for you. And for me, what works for me as being a mom that has a daughter that is so like active is working around each other's schedule. And that do entails into some sacrifices. But hey, you gotta do what make it do what it do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Make it do what it do.
Absolutely. I love it. Didn't y'all just do an event? I think it was the sneaker ball. Am I correct?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the sneaker ball.
You wanna tell them?
So this year's state ball was the first time I guess that second one, and it was the first time I could be there because the last one we had I deployed like a week before the sneaker ball. So for me, it was a greater turnout than what I imagined it to be. Um, for the fact that we had more men there that I thought was going to be there. So for me, it warmed my heart because I want to make it so men are comfortable with telling their stories, telling what they've been through. Because as men, we go into the world and we get beat on,
Right.
and especially as black men. But not only black men get beat on. Like, I got friends that's white; they get beat on. They go into the world, and then they go home and they deal with domestic violence situations, and people don't know that. And people think that they are right because they're these tough soldiers, but don't realize that they're broken. And to see not only women be there, but men show up, for men to answer the questions, for men to stand and speak, for me, that spoke volumes because you don't see that too often. Too often you see women are the ones speaking because a woman can walk into Walmart, break down crying, and people hug her, be like, "It's all right, we're gonna get you help or whatever." A man walk into Walmart, break down crying, they're gonna think something's wrong with her. Oh,
Right.
get us some help. He crazy. Call the police, without knowing that they're going through something mentally. And so to see men just show up and just to be there and to share their stories, like, for me, it was very humbling. It showed me, it allowed me to see that this can be greater than what I can even imagine it to be.
Absolutely.
And this is only our second year in Texas. The first year that we hosted the sneaker bar, I think we only had like 50 people that came. This year, the whole parking lot was full. I think we had 75 to 80 people that came and support us. And me being a business owner, you know what your expectations is for yourself.
Right.
And for me, when I think that, I'm like, little old me, this is my second year in Texas. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it motivated me, and it was so. I want to say this too. It was so much going on the day of the sneaker ball, so much. But at the end of the day, seeing the results and more men that showed up and more women that showed up, and not even from Texas. We had people from Atlanta, we had people from California, Arizona, because that's where I used to stay. Vegas, my best friend came. North Carolina, like we had people in different states, and so for me, that let me know this is the direction that I want to go into. But now, what can I do better? How can I show up even more so more people can show up around the world, not just stationary, but
Yep.
around the world.
That's amazing, and definitely congratulations for your second year. Like you said, it's definitely shows that you're doing something right and you're walking into the purpose of what you need to be walking in, and giving people a space to use their voice, men, women, and being able to express who they are and what they've been through. So I
Right.
commend you for everything that you are doing. Would you like to tell a little bit of your story and how you got to be able to express what you dealt with?
Yeah, I was in a domestic violence relationship. It was very toxic. It was more spiritually, financial abuse. I mean, it was a little physical, but it was more internal abuse. And what I mean by that is the downplaying, disrespectful, being cheated on, um, feeling like he had control over my life financially. Because, when you don't have the funds to be able to um, support yourself or or your child, then we tend to stay in situations because of financial ability. And he was the breadwinner at the time, so I stayed. And I was in that relationship for a good five years until one day, I just got tired. And my daughter, I tell the story all the time. My daughter had to be like 9 months, and I was sitting on the stairway, and she crawled, and she wiped my tears, and I was like, okay, my daughter sees this, and I don't want her to feel like this is what love looks like, because that's not what love looks like. And I don't want her to grow up thinking that she has to take this from a man, because you don't. Regardless of whatever situation that you are in, your peace and your sanity should be number one priority. Yourself should be number one priority. And so I had to move back home with my parents, much as I didn't want to, because I'm like, I have a baby. I'm moving back home with my parents. I have no job. I didn't have a car. But my mom and them was like, come home. They helped me raise, my daughter. And a lot of people often ask me what support looks like getting out of a toxic relationship. And for me, it was my parents, and some people don't have the ability to go back home to have that type of support. But I want people to know it's other support out there. It's women's shelters out there that is willing to help you. It is people out there that's been through things that you will be very surprised of that will be able to help you. So I don't want people to look at, okay, she had this support of our parents, but we don't have that support. So what do we do now? That's what we are here for. We are here to help you through that process. And so that's my mission. It's just being there for those, being there for those that don't have the support so they can be able to have the mindset to just get up and leave, knowing that it is somebody on the other side to help them.
Absolutely. Mr. Mills, can you give any advice to a man that might be dealing with domestic violence or being able to be vulnerable speaking out?
All right, so let me start off by saying, first of all, if as a man you're in a relationship where you're being talked down to, that is a form of domestic violence. And I'm not talking about y'all get into an argument and she says something she regrets. I'm talking about this person constantly talks down to you. That is a form of domestic violence. She's putting her hands on you. That's a form of domestic violence. I dealt with that. And I honestly didn't know it was domestic violence until my wife pointed out. That's what I dealt with. And when I look back at it over the years, I was in that situation. That's exactly what it was. And I was raised, you don't hit women. I never seen my father hit my mother. So I never hit her back. And it's not like she was just going around just beating on me, hitting me. It happened a couple of times, but it still happened, nevertheless. So it's still domestic violence. So I know as men, it's hard for us to speak because we are taught as men growing up, if you cry, you're weak. You cry, you're a punk. Don't cry. Don't be soft. That's the worst thing to teach a male because that makes them weak. It make you weak because it make you too weak to reach out for help when you need it. And it make you too weak to even realize you need that help. So I say for any man that's going through this, no matter what you think people may think about you, reach out for the help. Mentally, you need it. If you're in a situation and you got kids, and you feel as though if you walk away from the situation that your kids gonna be in trouble, your kids gonna be in more trouble by you staying there. Because the way that you're going to eventually end up lashing out or whatever, it's going to be more detrimental to them to see you stay in this situation. You can get out of that situation and fight for your kids. You can do that. But don't stay into something that's not building you up. Get out. Talk to someone. Find someone to talk to. If you can't find anybody to talk to, there are 1-800 numbers out there for domestic violence help, all that stuff. There's help. Get the help. Don't just sit there in something that you know is destroying you. You walk around broken and you're wondering, what do you need to do to fix? Because men, we naturally want to fix things. Yeah. We naturally want to fix things. But as a man, we never think to fix something is to walk away from it. So walk away from it, get your help. Don't feel less than a man because you're reaching out for help. Don't feel less than a man because you're dealing with a situation that you cannot deal with, that you need to get away from. They don't make you a punk. They don't make you weak. And if you got to break down and cry, break down and cry. Okay, I had a conversation with someone before that was telling me that this was like a couple of years ago. We grown men. In our 40s, they're telling me it's soft for a man to cry. I said, if you can point me out in the Bible, you tell me what scripture God says soft for a man to cry, then I'll believe you. I'll agree with you. But until you can point that out, I can't agree with it because the God that I serve never told me I was soft for crying. So it comes a time we are taught to hold our heads up, stick our chests out. That's me. Hold your head up, stick your chest out. Know that you're still a man and walk away from that situation and get the help that you need. And like I said, you got to cry. It don't make you weak. We have to learn to be emotionally intelligent. And as little boys, we are not taught that. Little girls are. Little boys are not taught to be emotionally intelligent. And it's time for us as men to become emotionally intelligent.
When you writing your book, when that book coming? I'm just saying, putting it out there.
I wanna add to in us as women have to be okay creating those spaces for our men and not judging them. Because I think that's why it's so hard for a man to be able to speak out. It's because us as women are not taught to create spaces for our men because we are taught that the man is the head of the household. They are supposed to figure it out. They are supposed to pay the rent, pay the bills. We are here to take care of kids. That do not work in this society anymore. We are a team. Y'all are a team, and you have to create a space for your men to be able to be vulnerable. Because if you don't, somebody else will.
Right.
So I wanted to put that in there.
So let's chat about your book, because then you just released a journal. Am I not mistaken?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about the journal and how we got to be an author.
Girl, that was in the making since the time that I had got out of my situation. But I think that it wasn't a good time to put that book out at that time because I would go and I'll write and then I'll stop. Life gets in the way. And then at the time I had just met my husband and I felt like it was more healing to be done on my part. But me trying to raise 3 kids and pouring out love to these kids, and I wasn't fully loving myself, I always say that was God because, how can you pour love into someone and you not loving yourself fully? So I think it wasn't the time to write a book at that moment because I think God, no, I don't, it's not, I think, I know God was preparing me for the moment to come to actually write my book so I can fully understand to meet people where they are at because a lot of people don't want to talk. There's a lot of people that would rather write down their feelings. And so I had to learn that in therapy. I got therapy. I'm still in therapy. And so I became an author earlier this year. And basically it's called The Strength to Walk Away. And it's not just a journal. It actually have questions in there too really think about where are you at in your life. Really think about are you really truly being your authentic self? Are you really walking away from things that no longer serve you? Where is your mindset at? Where do you see yourself? How do you handle problems or situations that is really not for you? And deep down inside is not for you, but just getting to understand yourself more. And I'm glad that I waited 11 years because I'm more self-educated, more knowledgeable. And it's not just for women, but it's also for men too. So the book is just not for women, it's for men. And journaling, what I am learning, it helps a lot of people. And it will create a space if you're not ready to talk about it and you just want to write it down. It's preparing you to be able to speak about it. So it's more of a self-help, educational, mind growth mindset, and just being able to understand you and where you're at in your healing journey.
Amazing, amazing. And I'm telling y'all, y'all better go get the journal. Go get the self-help journal. Cause listen, we all need some. I'm still going through therapy. So I understand the journey.
Yes.
So being that you said y'all met each other coming out of that relationship, right?
Hmm.
How did that work as far as, because coming out of that relationship, getting into another one, how you had to learn to trust again, you had to learn
Ooh.
the love again. So how did this blend? Because I know it took some work to navigate. So I need to hear each other's version on
Ooh, child,
navigating
can
the
I get some wine?
relationship, navigating the relationship after trauma is what I call it. Because we still are struggling through all of this because you're still broken, you're still healing.
Yes.
So tell us, how did that navigation work in this new relationship at
Um,
that time?
baby, listen. Um, his patience, because I would ask him many a time, like, why you still with me? Honestly, I didn't know I was completely broken until we got into a relationship. So, um, triggers. I didn't know anything about triggers because it would be things that he would do, and I would backlash on him. And I remember one time, baby, I remember one time, this was the night before we got married. We got into an argument about rings. So the ring that he gave me to propose with, he took it back and he was like, I'm supposed to give it to you, when we get married. And I was like, no, you don't. Like, you don't need the whole set. Give me the ring back. Like, we was arguing over little stuff, little stuff like that. And I think that came of fear because I was like, oh my God, I'm getting married again. And I have a daughter, and I want him to love my daughter as his own because we have to be very careful who we let around our kids. But I didn't pick him. My daughter actually chose him. That's a whole other story how that happened. But for me, I think it was fear, and he bluntly sat me down and was like, he took the kids home and he bluntly sat me down and he was like, you need to figure out if this is what you want because we don't need to be wasting each other's time. And girl, I I think if that conversation never would have happened, I don't think we would be married today because I was sabotaging a lot. Like I would make up arguments. He'd be yelling at my daughter, and it's basically him being patient and seeing through what I truly am or was at that time and accepting me through all my flaws because I was truly really broken, but I didn't know how broken I was until we got into that relationship. And he was just patient with me. He was patient with me. And I think what else really helped us is because we used to go together. I was like, well, he thought I was 13, but I was really 12. And my best friend, which is his god sister, had hooked us up. So we've been knowing each other for like 30 something plus years. So I think he seen the owner that was as a kid or a teenager and went with that. And I think that what helped our marriage or us being together and me finally taking accountability to own up to me. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. And I got therapy with I was getting therapy for 2 years without him even knowing. that I was getting therapy. I truly believe that as an individual, we have our own shit to unpack.
Absolutely.
Before you do marriage counseling, because you are an individual first before marriage, before having your kids, before anything. Everything starts with self. And when I learned that, I began to realize that I was the problem. And when I started taking accountability of my actions, he even became more patient with me. And then he started taking accountability of his actions. And then honestly, we just grew. We just grew from there. I mean, that's my perspective.
For me, so when I came out of the situation I came out of, I'm gonna say
Mhm.
this, and I know so many people of our ethnicity will have a problem with me saying this, but I was done with black women. I was completely done because that's who had did the most damage to me. I was done. And then we got back together. And honestly, when we got back together, so she was looking for somebody to work out with on Facebook. And I was like, it's gonna be no problem with two single people to work out together. And honestly, all I wanted was a workout party. That was it. I cared nothing about a relationship. I just wanted somebody to work out with.
I can see.
So, and we ended up dating. And for me, for like I said, I was done with black women. I wasn't gonna ever get married again, but I started falling in love with her from the beginning, from the first conversation after we got back together. The fact that my kids was comfortable around her, not as much as my daughter, but it took my daughter some time because my daughter wanted that relationship with her mom still, and she wanted me and her mom to be back together, so she couldn't accept the fact that we wasn't. Well, my son, he just fed him. That's all he needed was food.
That's my best friend.
So it was like being around her, even though I still was hurting for what I went through. When I was around her, I was like I heard her voice, I seen her face, I got a text message from her, I just thought of her. That pain I was going through, I didn't feel. And I always loved always loved the ministry of marriage. My parents is married my entire life, so I love the ministry of marriage. And the reason I say the ministry of marriage because God created marriage before He created any other ministry, and it's a ministry of love. That's what it is. And so I always loved that. I always honored that. And so we got back together, and then I knew I wanted to marry her a month in. I didn't think anything hard. Well, I did.
Wait, what?
Even when I proposed to her, I had my son propose to her.
Yep.
So for me, it has always been easy to love her. No, it's always been easy for me to be around her because she's always been my comfort zone. She's always been that place where I know I can lay my head and be at peace. Even though it was challenging sometimes, like with her lashing out, and I knew it wasn't because of me, but I still didn't know why she would lash out. And I knew sometimes when I lash out, it wasn't because of her, but I didn't know why because I was looking at myself, and I wasn't emotionally intelligent at that time. Even though I was in my 30s, I wasn't emotionally intelligent. So once I recognized me, I was able to start working on me, and it worked. Like my parents love her, my mom will love her, my mom will call her daughter, my kids call her mom, my sister call her sister.
Do not call me daughter, mother-in-law. Like she would wring my neck if I say that.
It's like my family love her. Like even my brothers and sisters from the army, stay sisters. Yeah, so they check on her more than they check on me. So it's like
hater.
So it was easy for me to be with her. Even though we went through stuff, it still was easy.
Love it, love it, love it. So what is next for 2025 for the Mills?
I'm so excited for 2025.
Trying to get this clothing line off the ground.
We are going to have our own podcast.
Yeah.
Um, and it's going to be based off his clothing line. And I think we just going to do more stuff together. Um, I'm looking for another location for my products. Um, and just basically navigating life in 2025, what I expect from my business and me and my husband as partners is navigating entrepreneur world together in every aspect of it. Whatever he got going on, I want to be 110% a part of, and whatever I have going on, I want him to be a part of it 110%. And so there has been a lot of things put on the back burner because of his deployment or being with the Army. So now we're finally doing our own podcast, hopefully having a book together, and traveling more. I supposed to be going overseas. And it's crazy because he's already in the military, and I was asked from the military to actually travel and teach about domestic violence. So um, that's a blessing because he's in the military and they want me to work for him. So it would be like second natural for him to come, travel with me. So it's a lot going on in 2025 that I'm definitely looking forward. So
I'm excited for y'all 2025 because
yeah,
it's only what tomorrow's the first, so it's only like
yes.
20, 30 more. It's 30 more days in
Look
2024.
at you
So
got it. What you say?
listen, tomorrow the first.
Yes.
So as of right now, it's 30 more days.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I think honestly, my biggest lesson this year is being more intentional with myself and being more intentional with my daughter and my husband and my kids. But also, instead of me, what I want from my business, I'm more focused on what I expect from my business. Those are two different things.
Absolutely.
And so just moving and being intentional and operating in love for 2025, being more intentional about who I let in my space, my family space. And, you know, that's what 2025 is called, being intentional with myself and my family.
Mr. Miller.
For me, 2025, I wanna I wanna be more involved in with what we do as a couple as far as the business aspect. Um, just one thing to be involved as far as the marriage, but I need to be more involved as far as the business aspect. I need to be more involved in my clothing line because I know that I could have had it on a broader spectrum by now, but the fact that I've been on mission after mission and not just let that deter me from doing that, I could have. So my mission in 2025 is not to let anything stop me from accomplishing the things I want to accomplish, whether it's military side of the house, personal side of the house. If there's something that God has put in me to bring forth, to allow God to bring that forth and to wholeheartedly walk in God's love. Because
Mm.
I don't care whatever I do if I'm not walking in love. What's the point? You know.
I love it. I love it. So wrapping up, would you like to tell them how to find y'all, how to connect with y'all, how to, you do training, y'all have many hats. So tell them how to connect with the Mills. Tell them how to get with y'all. Look, the last 30 days in 2024 and definitely to expand in 2025.
Yes. So I'm the social media person. He's the more back scenes person. But we agreed that since we have a podcast coming out, we both going to be more social media active. So you can find for me for to find us as of right now, GGK Lipstick Diary _Texas, and Facebook as Shauna Mills, Shauna GGK Mills, and then we are creating a new new IG page. Keep It Solid, and Keep It Solid would be the name of our podcast and his clothing line. So you can just find me as of right now. But we coming, y'all. We coming as a couple for 2025.
Yeah, and as for me, I had y'all on social media. I've been on social media for the past 2 months now. So I want to get back on it. So you want to find, and the only reason I'm getting back on it is someone want to reach out to me. If you're a male, you want to reach out, you just want to talk about what you've been through or whatever. If you need a workout plan, a diet plan, or whatever, you can find me on Instagram at Kevin_Rhino_Mills. Rhino is spelled with a Y, not an I. And like I said, if you need somebody to talk to, reach out. I'm here.
Hold on now. You said you gonna be back on social media, right? Because we got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I heard that he been off for 2 months. We gonna be back on social media.
Ooh. Any last advice to the people for the last 30 days, you know, as far as living, loving, laughing, and being, you know, walking in their purpose? We'll start with Mr. Mills.
Don't give up on you. Do not give up on you. Fight for you.
That's it. I didn't want to interrupt. Keep it solid. Be true to you. Keep it solid means being true to you. If you need breaks, breaks are so necessary because there's nothing wrong to reset, recharge, and get your mind right, because every day that you get up is a blessing, and not take advantage of that blessing, but to live within your blessing. So live more, keep it solid, and be intentional about you.
Amazing, amazing. I thank the Mills for being here, and hopefully they'll be back with us again in 2025, dropping some more gems.
Yes.
As always, you know, this have been your girl, Sheena Gadon, better known as the lady behind the mask. You can find me on Facebook as Dr. Sheena Gadon. You can find me on Instagram as the lady behind the mask 22. You can find me on my website as Sheena unmaskingmotivation.com. And as always, you know, we're always here to educate, motivate, and inspire. I thank you, and always truly catch you next time.
Yeah, bye.
Not anymore. My toxicness will stop me from loving myself or trusting others in my peaceful place. Not anymore. My lack of post-trauma is going to stop me from my future growth. Yes, not anymore. I know I'm powerful. I know I'm overcoming. I know I'm a positive. I know I'm loved. And yes, not anymore. I'm dope. Dedicated to other people's empowerment. I love my dopeness, and so should you.